Hello, hockey fans, and welcome back in to the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We have got a ton to go over in the world of hockey tonight. We've got streaks going on in Edmonton. We've got a star continuing to cement his young legacy in San Jose. Madison Square Garden is having booze rain down upon it. Tampa Bay is pointless. We've got a coaching change in Columbus to discuss. We've got history being made with one of the greatest American goal scorers of all time. But it's not just the professional stuff. We will dive into the NCAA as well, update some of the power rankings going on in the college game. We've got an update on the rinks in Italy. Are they going to be ready for hockey here in just a few weeks? It certainly doesn't seem like they will. And we'll dive into the PWHL as well tonight. So much hockey to go over. Freddie's got his power rankings all lined up, all ready to go. We've got all that plus more coming up right here, right now in the Neutral Zone. So buckle on up, get the puck across the blue line, fire it in on net. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Hello and good evening. Welcome on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam. He is Freddie. Together, we are the Neutral Zone. We do this every Wednesday, right around this time. Seems like we've kind of slotted ourselves into this spot, and it feels pretty comfortable. Woo, you have got a loud mic there tonight.
Is it loud? I'm sorry. Let me see.
That's all right. That's okay. You are ready and raring to go.
Is that better? Did I turn it down a little bit?
Little bit. There we go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There we go. All right.
Well, yeah. Great to be back, Adam. I'm happy we got it in and didn't have any obligations that were.
Yes. Well, I was a little worried this morning as I was getting into work because I knew the forecast that we were getting over in my neck of the woods, and it is pouring down snow right now. For those of you that don't live in the Midwest and aren't familiar with lake effect snow, we have snow coming down at a rate of about an inch an hour right now. That would be roughly equivalent to like 20 inches of rain just pouring down on top of you all at once. It is a lot of fun. So,
oh my God. Now is it cold enough for that snow to stick around, or is that going to have a quick melt off, or you guys?
It is light stuff because we're in the 20s,
Good.
Which means that the 40 to 60 mile an hour gusts we're having are just making everything blow everywhere. It is truly a snow globe out by us right now. So I'm glad I'm home to do this.
The bigger question, Adam, obviously, is your concern, your well-being of your family and everything in these conditions. But how are my Rams going to do? What's the forecast for the Bears game?
So I love that. That's the first thing we get to talk about on the neutral zone. I love that. So I was reminded of, remember like the Rams and Bears back in 2018 had the Sunday night game.
Yes.
And it was, this could determine home field in the NFC and et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And one of the things that came up was the discussion of the elements. And one of the Rams players, I don't remember who, doesn't matter to the story, said at the time, well, it's been a little cooler here this week. It's been in the 50s. I think we'll be okay. And it was instantly, they're doomed. Oh, they're just completely doomed. It's the same kind of thing. We're looking, on Sunday, we might be getting into double digits by kickoff.
Okay.
It is very possible that there could still be snow coming. It's basically between now and Sunday. It's not supposed to stop snowing until Sunday.
That's crazy. Because this week alone has been, we're getting temps in the 80s here in Southern California right now. It's hot. We did have a brief period of some cold weather for like 3 days, but there's no way to recreate that unless you're going to hold a practice inside crypto.com arena on the ice or something like that. If they can chill it. I mean, I don't know how else you recreate game atmosphere with those drastic temperatures.
Meanwhile, the Bears are practicing outside without heaters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be winter. So yeah, dress appropriately for the occasion. And it's winter in the Midwest. It's what we do. It's how we do here. So, well, how we do here on the neutral zone, though, and welcome to everybody watching live across YouTube and Twitter. We are very glad to have you here. You can follow along with us. You can follow along with the station, by the way, IE Sports Radio. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube at IE Sports Radio. You can also follow Freddie on Twitter. He is at FreddieB_sports. I am at Adam _Karnik. And we want to say thank you as well to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. And we also want to say thank you to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research.
Let me add one thing real quick, Adam, to that great breakdown of all the media outlets in which you can find and listen to the show and all the other shows on IE Sports Radio. We just had our website launch, iesportsradio.com. It's a really good looking website. We're in the beginning stages. Larry, our overlord, has done a tremendous job putting that thing together, and check it out. We'll have all of our shows from all of the different insiders. We'll have insider views. There'll be, forums and blogs as well. But if you're interested in ever talking sports, there'll be a link on there where you could, reply and, give us your interest in what it is, you want to talk about. We cover all the major sports, even, football, auto racing as well. Everything. So check out, iesportsradio.com.
Yeah, it completely redesigned, relaunched. Larry did an excellent job with that. So yeah, thank you, Freddie, for reminding me of that so we could get that up there. Because yes, the website is back. It is live. It looks very, very sharp. Looks very, very nice. Larry did a great job with that. Well, without any further ado, we always like to start the show off by taking a look at the scores across the NHL. We've got not a ton of games going on in the hockey world tonight, but we got some doozies going on. Nobody has gone final in the NHL yet because the Kraken and the Devils are going to be going to overtime, tied at 2 with on that one. Jared McCann converted on the power play to tie the game in the second. The third period was scoreless, so the Kraken and the Devils tied at 2, headed for overtime there. At the end of 2, you had the game on there a little bit ago. The Sabres and the Flyers, Buffalo, all over Philadelphia, 4-1 up there in Buffalo. Buffalo 4 goals on just 11 shots through the first 2 periods of play.
Not ideal when you have Jack Quinn or Josh Doan or any of those players, Tage Thompson, on your hockey shot props like I do tonight. I thought that was going to be a big shoot fest between those. I'm getting them on the Philadelphia side, but not the Buffalo side. So pick it up, boys.
Yeah, well, both goalies for Philly are struggling tonight. Urson, excuse me, has given both goalies have given up 2 goals already on the night. Vladar faced 5 shots, let in 2 of them. Urson not a whole lot better, letting in 2 goals on 6 shots. So Buffalo on top of Philadelphia there at the end of 2. They are just getting ready to drop the puck in Madison Square Garden.
No, you want to talk about goalies?
Oh yeah,
and rough times real quick.
Yes,
6-1 end of the second period in that Rangers game.
Yes,
and poor Jonathan Quick having to play, these games with Shesterkin out, and it is brutal. They are booing the home team off the ice at MSG. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, Adam. Yeah, 6-1.
Yes. Eesh. 6-1. The Rangers have one more shot than Buffalo does, though, so they at least have that going for them. Just none of them are going in. Of course, they haven't been shut out. They're at home and they have scored.
They got the pity goal there after giving up 6 in a row to start the game.
Off. Down 6-0 to start it, and I am counting here. It looks like. Oh no, just the one was on the power play. So 5 even ice goals allowed by Jonathan Quick tonight and the Rangers and the Rangers defense.
That's
not good. And against Ottawa, not good there. And then coming up, probably about the time we'll be wrapping up the show tonight. But coming up later tonight, we've got Vegas and Los Angeles coming up. So that's it for the NHL, but we do have a game over in the PWHL tonight in Boston. The Fleet on top of the Toronto Scepters, 2-0. That game very nearly done. There's 2 minutes and 11 seconds left to go in regulation on that one. The Fleet leading 2-0. Another shutout appearing like it could be in the offing there for Boston.
Aaron Frankel, our girl, another shutout. Every time we talk to PWHL, we're talking with her now. I think that's her 4th shutout of the season, if I'm not wrong.
4th, 5th, right in there. Yeah,
I've lost track. Yeah, incredible season.
Just an unbelievable season as Boston continues to be atop the PWHL. We will talk a little bit about the PWHL tonight as well later on in the program. So those are the games going on tonight. Now let's dive into some of the NHL stories from the week. We had a ton to get through. Let's start things off north of the border, though, with the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the world. We all know it. Is he getting ready to make history in Edmonton here?
If you're talking about a points game streak, he's got a long way to go, but 21 games for Connor point streak, which is simply incredible. I think he's got 45 points during this stretch as well. And that's really led to this, resurgency of the Oilers, the poor start to the season. But then when your main guy gets hot and then Leon Draisaitl follows suit, you get Zach Hyman back and healthy, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins healthy as well. This team is clicking. Then you make the big trade, the goalie swap, Stuart Skinner for Tristan Jarry, and that's starting to pay dividends. Jarry had a brief injury in his first couple of games, and he's back now, played last night. If they can get the solid goaltending, Connor Ingram's been good, and Calvin Pickard has been good when called upon as well. So they're kind of getting it from everywhere. The defense is still, everybody knows that they're suspect on defense. They're not the most defensive team in the league. They can outscore you 5-4 every night, but Edmonton's picking it up.
They've never been much concerned with defense, and I understand it. It's just just try to keep up. If you'll get 2, 3, 4 goals every single night, but we're going to get 5, 6, 7 goals every single night. So do your best to keep up. That's always been the Edmonton MO.
McDavid, as we're talking about, he's overtaken Nathan McKinnon in the points lead. they're going back and forth with each other almost every night. 82 points for Connor McDavid. You know, he's on pace for a 160-point season. And if he started the season at the same pace he's been on over the last 20, 21 games, he'd have about 180-point season. It's incredible.
That is just unbelievable. That is an incredible.
Look out, Team Canada, man. They are stacked.
They are. We're going to be talking about that coming up here over the next couple of weeks. We get ready for the Olympics. But Edmonton, to your point too, they've been, as McDavid has gone, they've been winning too, doing better. They've got 12 points in their last 10 games. They are coming off an overtime loss in their last one, but they're all the way back at the top of the Pacific. They are tied with Vegas coming into tonight. Now, Vegas has got more games in hand, so Vegas still atop the Pacific Division. Yeah. But you're talking 54 points right now for Edmonton. They're right back in the thick of it, which shouldn't surprise us. But then again, you know, they like to dig themselves in a hole early and watch themselves get out of it.
We've seen that over the last couple of seasons, how they've done that. And then when they brought in, you know, Chris Knobloch, you know, he kind of changed that one year when they were starting pretty bad. And then they, you know, rough start. They weren't never in this year's NHL. You were never out of it. You've never been out of it unless you're like Vancouver right now in the Western Conference. Nobody's completely out of it. Now, if you just start winning games at, you know, 600 to a 650 win percentage, there's a chance you're going to start climbing up the ladder outside of the top three in the Central Division. I mean, there's, you know, 5 Pacific Division teams have a legitimate shot of getting into the playoffs this year.
Absolutely. So just keeping themselves in the mix and keeping themselves in that top 3. You know, with Edmonton, it's not really important which of the top 3 they get. Just get themselves in, and you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, my Kings beat them the other night in an overtime game, and that's something that I didn't expect them after getting destroyed by Winnipeg the night before. But those two teams, when they play each other, just play a different style of hockey where it's just like a playoff game every single time. So I really hope it doesn't come down to them playing again in the first round. if the Kings could even get there at this point.
Yeah. Staying out west for a moment, Macklin Celebrini, he is just continuing to show why he was the number 1 overall pick a year ago in San Jose. But as Celebrini goes, so seemingly goes the San Jose Sharks. Yeah. You pointed out in your notes getting ready for tonight that Celebrini, he had a 13-game point streak snapped here recently.
Yep.
When Celebrini does not get on the stat sheet, it's only happened in 10 games, but the Sharks have 2 points total in those 10 games and no wins. 8 and 2.
Yeah, when I saw that stat, I was shocked. Like, we know that Celebrini has a huge handprint as to what's going on with this team right now. But I didn't know the drastic numbers, you know, with it when he doesn't produce a point that they don't win the game. You know, come away with 2 points, like you said, in 10. But man, this kid is unbelievable. I did get to watch him, you know, play against the Kings. Didn't get to go to the game, but he single-handedly, you know, brought the Sharks back from losing with scoring in the last minute and then assisting on the game-winning goal on the other end in overtime. But man, this kid has got it, and he is special. I said he reminds me a lot of Sidney Crosby. If he didn't have McDavid or McKinnon, you know, in the league right now, this kid would be the top in the league at 19 years old, 18 years old. You know, it's crazy.
He is, you know, it's easy to forget because he's in San Jose and you've got those other 2 sluggers out west. If he were do you think if he were on the East Coast, do you think we'd be talking about him a little bit more?
I think so, but his play is definitely speaking volumes, and it's being talked around all the NHL. No, I mean, look at, you know, his selection onto Team Canada. I think he played himself out. You know, he played better than Sam Bennett and Some of the other guys that were questionable that were left out, he jumped them because of his play, and he's phenomenal. I can't wait to watch him in the Olympics again. That Canada team is so stacked. But the Sharks, though, are getting contributions from everybody. We're seeing Tyler Toffoli have a really good season, Will Smith having a really good season as well, and then defensively, San Jose's hanging in there. They're right now the last wild card team in the Western Conference, but they do have games in hand. Only having 45 games played as opposed to like Utah, who's played 47. But
right,
I didn't expect them to be in the conversation at all. I didn't even expect them to be in the top 10 in the Western Conference.
Yeah. Now, is it at all concerning? Because I'll say it is to me, the stat that you brought up of when Celebrini doesn't get on the scoreboard, that the team doesn't win, doesn't get points, 8-2, that stat there.
Yeah.
How big of a concern is that to you? To me, that is an alarming red flag. You need to have balance. Let your star be your star, but you can't put the weight of the world on a 19-year-old kid.
No, I know. And keep in mind, though, they were on he was on a 13-point streak as well. So they're picking up points in that stretch. I think the team, if they lose one game and he doesn't score, that they have the right guys that are going to pick it up. They've seen their success this year. I don't think you're going to see a drop, although they're going to start picking up some wins. Hopefully, he doesn't go a whole lot of games the rest of the season without scoring a point. And Sharks fans are hoping for that too. But I think the guys that they have, they may be buyers at the trade deadline if they're still in a position, so they can add more depth, more scoring pieces, and solidify the defense, because they're getting pretty decent goaltending as well. So the Sharks are picking it up. A surprise team, but definitely fun to watch.
You brought up that they're right now in the last wildcard spot. They are 1 point behind Seattle for third in the Pacific, and then they don't even have to worry about the wild card too. Sure. They are in prime position. They should certainly consider adding. I don't know that you necessarily now is the time to sell the farm or go wild or crazy.
No,
but it would certainly be the time to look at making some deals, look at starting to build your arsenal a little bit that way.
Yeah, they've got really good, they've drafted really well, with Mike Greer being, the GM there, and they've done things the right way. Once they lost Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, and then Logan Couture and Joe Pavelski, those guys moved on. There was, about a 3-4 year stretch where the Sharks were one of the worst teams in the league. And we saw that last year as well, Celebrini's rookie season. And, but they've done it really, really well. And I think that they do have assets if needed to trade off and get some key pieces in return. I would like to see the San Jose Sharks be competitive again, because they're an extremely fun team, and the San Jose fans are great hockey fans as well. So I want to see them back in a playoff push as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, now on to the next. So you brought it up a little bit. What's going on with the Rangers? They're getting blown out they're getting blown out at home against Ottawa, one of the worst teams in the league. They're getting booed in their own building. They are currently bottom in the Metro. They are the worst team in the East, and they're only going to just supplant themselves even further. Thank heavens for Vancouver, right? Because otherwise, they would be the worst team in hockey. They'd be one of the worst teams in hockey, I guess.
I know.
Winnipeg is still down there, but Winnipeg, we'll talk about them in a minute here.
Still at 46 points and only 7 points out of a playoff spot are the Rangers. The reason why the fans are booing is because they've had crap games played on home ice this year. They can't score goals, and they can't win games at home. This team is a pretty solid team. They do have injuries right now with Shesterkin and Adam Fox, but they've got some good players on that team, Adam, and they need to be pulling out points. And when you can't score at home, I agree with the fans 1,000%. Boo them off the ice, because that is pathetic, especially tonight, giving up 6 to the Senators.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they've been so streaky and so weird, and like you said, they've had their worst performances at home. They had the ridiculous scoreless streaks. Oh, excuse me. They've just all the times they've been shut out at home. They have played their worst games there in New York this season. I understand completely why they're getting booed.
Yeah, a home record of 5-12-4. So you only have 14 points in 21 home games so far this season. That's terrible. And they're doing really well on the road. If they were terrible on the road, then we would be talking a lot more about them. But a streak can happen at any time. We've seen it. There could be key injuries to other players. You get your guys healthy again. The Rangers could be right back in it. Maybe their push comes right after the Olympic break. Maybe they get Adam Fox back, Shesterkin's back, the team is healthy. But at the same time, you have to start thinking in the back of your head, what are they going to do with Panarin at the end of this season? Are they going to try to trade him off before the season? So they're also dealing with that in New York as well.
They've got, so taking a look at their upcoming schedule, which we've been saying this for, my gosh, seemingly the entire season with the Rangers as well. The schedule does kind of line up a little bit nicely for them. They've got the Flyers in Philadelphia on Saturday. Then they head out west for 3 games. They're the Ducks, the Kings, and the Sharks next week. There's opportunities to be had there to try to take advantage of things, but I just, at this point, I don't feel like I have zero confidence that they will be able to take advantage of it. And if it is okay, well, after the Olympic break, after the Olympic break, that is, you've got to be,
you have to, it has to be that
you
time.
have to, that's your last chance. That's pedal to the metal time.
To your point, Adam, we're seeing resurgencies in the Buffalo Sabres, the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Penguins. Those 3 teams are ahead of the 2-time champion Florida Panthers out of a playoff spot right now. So there's a lot of teams playing good hockey in the Eastern Conference. The Rangers are going to need combinations of finally winning games at home and on the road, and the other team's starting to struggle. The point, they're going to start seeing separation as they keep losing on a 3-game losing streak right now. And, the top teams are starting to pull away. We're seeing Toronto right back in the mix. So the Rangers,
Rangers,
it's rough.
It's a 3-game streak and about to be 4 straight without getting a point. Speaking of not having a point, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, thank you. I was mentally workshopping that as we went on. No Braden Point again. It seems like this is a regular occurrence in Tampa Bay that, you're not going to have him for 82. You're probably not even going to have him for 72. Are you going to have him for 52? That's kind of where it feels anymore with him.
Yeah, that's, man. And Tampa Bay is cooking. Let's first start off saying, they've won 11 in a row, tying a franchise record with an 11-game winning streak. They are on fire right now. They have a 1-point lead atop the Eastern Conference. And this is still with, them suffering a lot of other injuries as well, especially, the biggest one being Hedman. And now you lose Braden Point, and that's huge because, man, he's like the little engine that could on that team. He really is very complimentary to Kucherov. He's a star in this league, and he was, chosen for Team Canada because of that. And now that's in jeopardy as well. Will he be ready for the Olympics, or will his injury prevent him from participating?
Ooh, do you put Connor Bedard in there if Braden Point can't?
You could. It's going to be probably between Bedard, Scheifele, and Sam Bennett would be the 3 alternates. Now, there's who's to say, nobody else gets hurt between now and then as well. So I'm happy with any of them. I mean, if it's Bedard, that's fantastic. But I don't know if he'll get looked up, over again when it comes to that.
Yeah, it'll probably be Sam Bennett. Getting my hopes up. Oh well. That's hard.
Tom Wilson is suffering from injury as well. I think he came back, or he's going to be coming back. But yeah, there's some guys. Bo Horvat suffered an injury. So the Team Canada might have a chance to have Bedard on it.
Things happen. Things get shaken up. Things got majorly shaken up in Columbus.
Yeah,
this past week. You just can't keep Rick Bowness away, can you?
That guy is Mr. Hockey, and man, Columbus, better be on their butts because Rick Bowness means business, and I don't think Columbus was that far off, to be honest with you. And I thought Dean Evanston was a pretty solid coach myself. Mm-hmm. Columbus is just one of those teams that just can't put it together. One of the few of those expansion teams that never really took the leap. We saw Minnesota make it to a Western Conference Finals game. We've seen Florida and Tampa Bay win championships, and San Jose's been extremely successful. They're really the only expansion team that really hasn't done anything. And, you've got some really fantastic players, Kirill Marchenko, Adam Fantilli, and obviously, the goaltending that they've got there as well. I don't know, man. Columbus, they're a team that could go on a run. What do you think, Adam?
With Columbus, they're thank heavens for the Rangers, because that's the only team behind them right now in the Metro. Columbus is always one of those teams that it feels like they're always 2 years away. They're always 2 years away. That hey, we're making progress. We're having good signs.
I really think that God, because they do have some really solid players. I love Zach Werenski. I think he's one of the most underrated defensemen in all of hockey, and they do have some. And maybe Rick Bowness can turn it around. They won his first game behind the bench. They've won 2 in a row now, and maybe they can, that Eastern Conference. So you could get on a streak. You could find yourself right back in the pack. So next week, Adam, maybe they'll be in there. Maybe they'll be closer to a playoff spot.
Well, sure. Let's take a look at what that schedule looks like for Columbus. Sure, what their upcoming one looks like as I react on the fly here. There they are.
Hey, Columbus is a fantastic town, and they've got great hockey fans. They're due to win something. That outside of that tremendous sweep over Tampa Bay in the playoffs a few years ago, they haven't. There's nothing, no banners or nothing like that they can hang them, in the rafters there.
I mean, what they're looking at their next 3 games, they host Vancouver, they go to Pittsburgh, and then they host Ottawa. That's an excellent opportunity to get 4 or more points there.
Yeah, especially if you can pick up the wins against Pittsburgh and Ottawa. They're in your own, conference. So you want to get the 2 points in conference games, especially.
Yep. Get yourself going there. Of course, then after that, they turn around and it's games against the Stars, the Lightning, the Kings, the Flyers, the Blackhawks, and the Blues. So, easy come, easy go on some of that.
Yeah, but I like to see Rick Bowness. He worked some magic when he was in Dallas, and then when he was up in Winnipeg, maybe he can do that. I didn't expect Dean Evanston to be the first coach let go at this point in the season.
No, but at the same time, I'm not surprised to see somebody make a move. We see it every single year where NHL teams just their patience only goes so far. And we see it with everybody. We've seen it with Edmonton. We've seen it with Columbus this year. We've seen it with Chicago last year, making a coaching change. We see it every year that somebody will just, okay, that's it. I'm done. I've general managers just, I've seen enough. We're not going anywhere. It's time to make the move. So did I think Columbus was going to make it? Maybe not them necessarily, but somebody was going to.
I know everybody in LA wanted Jim Heller fired, that we've wanted him fired since last year. And he's still sticking around. So we need the general management team and to be let go, as well as the coach, and restart here in LA, man. I'm still hoping, I predicted Peter DeBoer to LA would be our next coach, and I don't think anything until after the Olympics. And the reasoning, because I think his focus was on Team Canada. He's assistant coaching for Team Canada, and he wants to win the gold. And that is even a better notch on his resume. Maybe, he's holding off just until that time. I don't know. We'll see. But Jim Hiller is got to be the next guy to go.
Well, of course, then the Kings might get on a winning streak, and everybody will be, he saved his job.
Yeah,
he saved it there. Well, you brought up Winnipeg as one of the previous locales for Rick Bowness. They seem to be on an upswing of their own. They've had such a miserable season to this point overall. I mean, at one point they were the bottom of the bottom in the NHL, but now they're starting to win again.
They are. They've won 3 in a row now. The Winnipeg Jets have won 3 in a row. That's something we haven't really said all year. And in doing so, they have crept out from the bottom in the Western Conference. They've leaped over Vancouver, and they're only 1 point behind Calgary, and 8 points in total out of a wild card spot. Winnipeg is a damn good hockey team. Connor Hellebuck, yeah,
they're still bottom of the Central. They're 3 points behind St. Louis, 4 points behind the Blackhawks, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What in your opinion has been real for Winnipeg? Has it been more the losing side of Winnipeg, or has it been more the winning side of Winnipeg? What's more real out of this franchise right now? Your opinion?
Real? I still think Winnipeg is a great team. They were the President's Trophies winners last year. They were the best team in hockey. Don't know what happened this year. There weren't really many pieces that left. Nikolai Ehlers was the only one, I think, that really left the team. When he went down to Carolina. I don't know what it was. You had a Connor Hellebuck injury, early in the season as well, which kind of set them back. But even in his return, Hellebuck hasn't been great. But now, he's starting to get even more healthy. I think Winnipeg is going to do something here, Adam. I think they're going to end up getting a wild card spot. If you look at the teams that are outside of the wild card right now, the bottom 8, they have the best goal differential. They're -7. All the other teams are double digits. So they can score, and then if they get that good goaltending, with Hellebuck and solid defense with Pionk and Stanley and Morrissey, I expect Winnipeg to go.
I'm with you. I think they are. I think the losing streak was more of a mirage. I think there was some bad puck luck. There was some bad things going on there that I think they will be able to overcome and right the ship.
They just started the 3-game winning streak in their game against the Kings when they kicked the Kings' butts. But the 2 games prior to that, they were winning. They blew leads to Vegas, and then a 2 or 3 goal lead to Edmonton as well. So they could have technically, if they had held on to those games, be on a 5-game heater right now. So I think Winnipeg is slowly doing it. The Jets are refueling. They're ready for takeoff, and they're going to start to, soaring their way up back into. They're not going to catch Colorado, Dallas, or Minnesota, but
that was going to be my next thing that I was going to say. I don't think I think their only option is a wild card spot. I don't think they can do any better than that.
Yeah, but hey, mark this take on this show right now, Adam, that the Winnipeg Jets will make the playoffs this year.
All right, there we go. We'll like it. We'll see what happens.
The 39-minute mark is where it
was. we'll come back to that here in a few weeks, and we'll see how that looks. One last one before we close out our whip around the league. This one's near and dear to me. He's still my favorite. He's still my favorite guy, even though he doesn't play for my team anymore. Even though he plays. Not only does he not play for my team anymore, he plays for one of the bitter rivals of my team. It's still,
right.
but it's still, I have a coworker of mine who is a Red Wings fan, and I was talking with him about Patrick Kane getting goal number 500 this past week, and he said, yeah, he's still a Blackhawk. He's always going to be a Blackhawk. We're just simply borrowing him for a little while.
Yeah, no, they're not borrowing him right now because Detroit is doing fantastic, and Kane is starting to put pucks in the back of the net.
He is. He's starting to get off to a slow start this season. He's only, he only had that was only his 8th goal of the season. But Patrick Kane becoming just the 50th player all time and 5th U.S. born player to get to the 500 goal plateau.
Yeah. And not just that, he's only 4 points shy of the most points by a U.S. born player, sitting 4 points behind Mike Modano right now. And he can get that, he will get that this season and become the all-time U.S. born points, producer.
Oh yeah. I mean, he should get that this month. He should. There's still a couple of weeks left in this month. He should certainly, by the Olympic break, he should be getting himself there. Does it take anything away for you that goal number 500 came in an empty net?
Not at all. A goal's a goal, and a goal scorer is going to take the goal. I mean, obviously, when it came down to Ovi, I remember he didn't want 900 or the Gretzky breaking goal to be the empty netter, right? He didn't want that to happen. But if it's there, you have to take the shot, right?
I think to me, it takes just a little bit away, but it's still, man, it's 500. For every empty netter that he's gotten, there have been at least 2. How in the world did he make that save, or how in the world did that not go in the net shots too? So
that goal against Philadelphia in the Stanley Cup final was that is the most memorable goal, in my opinion, for Patty Kane.
My favorite of recent vintage is the one that didn't count against Vegas. They were scrambling against the clock at overtime. He shot it before the clock expired, but it didn't cross the goal line before the clock expired.
Yep.
That should have counted. I still to this day. It was his final game as a Blackhawk at United Center.
I know. I remember seeing that.
It should have counted. So, but that takes us all around the league. My goodness sake, we whipped around and got a bunch of different stories in there. All right, we're going to take for ourselves a quick break, and then when we come back, Freddie's got his power rankings updated for you for this week. We'll see what changes there are. I will spoil a little bit. The changes were all clumped together. I'll leave you hanging with that. We will break that down next here on the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome back on into the Neutral Zone. He is Freddie. I am Adam.
Yep.
We do so after we whipped around the entire league there in the front half of the show. Woo! There was a lot going on there in the front. Now we get to have a little bit more fun. We get to have the party. The show is very much being a mullet. We were very business in the front, and now we get to have the party in the back.
Yes, sir.
We get to have some fun. Freddie, every week you love to do this. You love to tell the teams who's doing well, who's on the slide. The power rankings, here they go. You got quite a few in the honorable mentions this week, too.
Yeah.
Let's start off with those teams.
Really, it's like the top three, and then it's like everyone else clumped together. That's how it is. And it's, but yeah, we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen some teams drop out, some teams, make their way in. Who do you have at number 10 there, Adam? We've got some. We want to talk about the teams that are on the.
Well, very, very briefly, let's just mention the honorable mentions there. Seattle, Toronto, Boston, Nashville. That is a bunch of honorable mentions.
Yeah, Seattle's playing well. They're still hanging around in the Pacific Division. They were third behind Edmonton and Vegas with a couple games in hand. They did lose in regulation tonight. I'm sorry, in overtime tonight to the Devils. So they still pick up a point in the Pacific Division. And, Philip Grubauer is having a really outstanding job in net right now. And a guy that I love watching play is Matty Beniers. I mean, he's doing fantastic. Jared McCann with 2 big points tonight. But it just wasn't enough as they do lose 3-2 to New Jersey. But Seattle, they're competing. I didn't see it, but they're hard to beat at home. That's just a strange arena and an atmosphere there where if they can, do well on the road, they're going to be talking about.
They are. Well, let's dive in. Let's get into the top 10 themselves then real quick. Coming in at number 10. And we talked about them a little bit in the open because they've got the best player in the world and he's doing, best player in the world things. Number 10, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, the Oilers, they're sitting right there, 54 points. We talked about how well they're gelling offensively. They had a pretty good streak. +2 now. They were negative or even in goal differential a week ago, so that they've outscored now. They're the only team, I think, in the Pacific Division that has that positive. Oh no, Vegas is a +8 right now as well, so they're scoring as well.
Yep.
But yeah, Edmonton's doing well. 7-1-2 in their last 10, and yeah, a tough one last night. They did lose to Nashville, and you never like to see that, because those are those 3-point games where a team gets a point, and like for a Kings fan, Edmonton gains a point on the Kings, and then Nashville, who's behind us, gets 2 points closer as well. So those 3-point games are tough, but
they are tough. Coming in at number 9, the Washington Capitals. Now, we've seen them kind of bounce around on this list before. They've been up, they've been out, now they're back in.
Yeah, their comeback win last night really solidified them being in the top 10 again. They were down 2-0 to Montreal and end up winning that game in extra time. And yeah, the Caps are a good team. Logan Thompson, fantastic goalie. Ovi's still scoring goals. The Tom Wilson, he should be coming back. He was suffering from injury, so that's going to be a big plus if they can get him back. Yeah, Washington's still cranking along. Jacob Chikrin having a tremendous season on defense. Nobody's really talking about him too much. And then, you still have John Carlson back there. Alexei Protas having a really good start to the season as well. They're getting really good, depth scoring. I like Washington, and they have that pedigree. They were the best team in the East last year. I think that they'll be there in the thick of things.
I agree. I think they are going to be up there. Coming in then at number 8, another team that we've seen bounce around up and down in these power rankings. We've been doing them for a few weeks. They're back up there now at number 8. The Las Vegas Golden Knights getting ready to take on the Kings. They're going to be dropping the puck here probably just about any minute now. They're at crypto.com. What's got them at number 8 for you this week?
They're flying right now. They've won 4 in a row. Even though they were 5-3-2 in their past 10, a 4-game winning streak. So they dipped a little bit. They're getting hot again. Mark Stone is on a killer streak right now, points as well. Vegas is starting to put it together, I think. And Shea Theodore, getting him back is huge as well. They're good defensively. Jack Eichel, watch his highlights. He's probably going to skate circles around the Kings defense tonight and, hook up with
Very
Mitch
likely.
Marner. Yeah, probably Mitch Marner, Pavel Dorofeyev. Really solid team. Vegas, they struggled early, just as everybody else. But, yeah, number 7 in the rankings. So there's really not much higher. Number 8.
Number 8 in your 8 in your rankings this
not
week.
Too much higher for them at this point.
Yep. Now at this point, we actually, from this point, from 7 on, you actually didn't have any changes in your rankings from a week ago. So let's start with Minnesota, but then let's just kind of talk about why things kind of settled in this week on your rankings. So number 7, the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, Minnesota, 4-2-4 over their last 10. That really is what it came down to. Losing 2 games to the Kings the previous week didn't help them, but they're still sitting at 61 points, 11 points good to Utah, who's the next best team in the Central Division. So they're still solidly in the top 3 in the Central, and they're still battling with Dallas because Dallas is still kind of having their struggles as well. Minnesota, really fun team to watch, really exciting. The goaltending hasn't been as great, and both guys are going to be on Team Sweden, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. You have your teammates on the same national team. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, they're rolling. Kaprizov, all those guys, they're fine. Just not nowhere really to go. They haven't done poor enough to drop out, but they really haven't done well enough to go any higher right now.
That makes sense. And then coming in next at number 6, we talked about them a little bit already, the Detroit Red Wings.
Every team in that Atlantic Division is playing outstanding right now. 625 hockey, 6-3-1 over their last 10, but they can't make up any ground because they're right behind Tampa Bay, who's won 11 in a row. You mentioned, Patrick Kane picking up his 500th, Dylan Larkin, leading that team. Great captain. I really like Dylan Larkin as a player in Detroit, still plugging away. They're flip-flopping between Montreal and Tampa right now. You can win one day, you'll be up, you'll be down, but the winged wheel is still there. I think they've crested over that point now where there isn't going to be a drop-off with this Red Wings team.
I agree. I think they are going to be there to stay. I don't know how far into the playoffs they'll go, but I agree with you. They are going to be there to stay. So coming in at number 5, a team that we haven't talked at all about tonight, the Montreal Canadiens.
Man, they would have been, I would have had them maybe a spot higher had they held on and beat the Capitals last night. Montreal's been playing fantastic, and they're getting that goaltending that we talked about. Sam Montembeault coming back off his stint really has settled in as the team's number 1 goalie with Jakub Dobeš, Juraj Slafkowski, and Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, those guys leading the way, putting up big points. Big fight last night. I don't know if you saw that one as well.
I missed it.
Game. Oh man, that was oh shoot, I forgot who it was on Washington. Let me see if I can find. I can't go back, but Arbor Jack guy. I mean, that guy's huge, and did pick up an instigator penalty in a game misconduct, sticking up for a teammate that took a hit, but solid fight. He's been fantastic defensively. Montreal's they're solid. Josh Anderson getting points.
Those are always the fights that everybody, when you pick up that instigator, your teammates all love you for those. Stick it up, you get that instigator. Nobody on your bench is going to be too mad at you for that, provided you just don't give up the goal on the power play. Then,
yeah.
All right. Next, coming in at number 4, another team that we haven't talked about a lot tonight yet, but still hanging around in the top 5 overall, the Dallas Stars.
Yeah,
still
Stars
second in the Central.
They're still there. 63 points. Like we talked about before, they're going to be battling with Minnesota for that who gets home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. It's going to be the all green series between those two teams. Both teams have played the same amount of games. Dallas has 1 win more, and that's where the 2 points come into play. They're, really struggling right now. They're 2-4-4 over the last 10. They did beat the Kings in a game that could have gone either way. But then they lose last night to the Ducks, who were just on a 9-game losing streak themselves. So what Dallas Stars team are we seeing? You got to rely upon some other guys to help out the Wyatt Johnstons and the Jason Robertsons. And, the Dallas is in a good spot still, 28 goals plus in differential. Just a rough patch, and every team goes through them. They just doing theirs right now. I think they'll be fine for the next 2 or 3 weeks before the break. And then it's going to be a dogfight down the stretch for the last, third of the season.
Yeah, they have for the last few weeks. It does feel like the Stars have really dipped off. They've struggled to play 500 hockey, but there's no reason to think that after the Olympic break that they couldn't turn it around and pick it back up. And they're right there in the Central Division. They might not be able to catch Colorado, but they'll certainly be able to finish in one of the top 3 spots.
Yeah, definitely. And they can go. They had I think a 10-game or an 8-game winning streak earlier in the season as well. So they can go on those winning streaks.
Yep.
Dallas is still a very dangerous team.
Yep. Then next up on the list, it's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, Hurricanes.
Still at number 3.
Yeah. The only reason they didn't move up is because Tampa Bay is ahead of them at number 2, winning 11 in a row. But maybe that'll change. I didn't like the way they played against St. Louis the other night, getting shut out on the road 3-0. But, Carolina's playing well. They did lose to Detroit in a big, battle of first place that night. Not really blowing the teams out, a lot of 1-goal games, and they did get shut out by St. Louis. Big game coming up tomorrow against Florida at home. So let's see how they bounce back.
Yes.
Carolina's still there. Fantastic team. I really like, what Shane Gostisbehere is doing defensively this year. And Andrei Svechnikov is just a machine.
And then at number 2, we talked about him earlier, but still we want to bring him up. They just tremendous winning streak that they've been on, Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, Tampa Bay still number 1. Nobody's going to knock them off. They did lose the 2 games back to back in Florida a week ago, and they did lose the other night to the Maple Leafs in overtime. That was an amazing game. If there's any chance that could be a Stanley Cup preview, I wouldn't mind seeing the Maple Leafs in the Cup playing against Colorado. That was such a great game, and Austin Matthews, coming through, and not in the top 10, but Toronto's a team that's on their way up too. But Colorado, still doing it.
Yep. Yeah, Colorado. Now Colorado has started losing a few games more. Is there any concern, or is it just? It's an 82 game. It's an 82 game season. Yeah,
Adam, you don't want to lose these games and start playing poor hockey when it matters most. So, get go over the speed bumps early at this point rather than later in the season. Colorado, and it's just they still need things to work on. They need to work on that power play. They haven't been good on the power play all year. Nathan McKinnon, I think, 81 points on the season, and a lot of his points are 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting any power play points. So he has a huge plus minus in that category. He leads in that. Colorado, scary team.
Yep. Oh, incredibly scary. And also incredibly scary that at this point, they're almost certainly going to win the Central. They're almost certainly going to win the President's Cup. They're almost certainly going to be that top seed. They almost don't need to. They can almost take a little bit of a mental relaxation over the final few weeks of the season and just prepare themselves for the playoffs. And it's only January, and we kind of know that already.
Yeah, and Colorado had 2 losses where they didn't pick up a point and only pick up 1 point last night. That could have been key opportunities for the Stars and Wild to win and move up, but they had poor weeks as well. So it all evened out. Those top 3 teams in the Central just had a bad week altogether.
Yep. So that is it. That is Freddie B's power rankings this week in the NHL. Got a problem with him? Hit him up at Freddie B _sports. We'll discuss that. We break them down every single week. And this week, we're going a little beyond too. We've got the top 5 in the NCAA right now for you as well. We'll do them in reverse order here.
Yes, you can do reverse order. Yeah.
There we go. As I have to pull it up here real quick. So you have number 5 North Dakota.
Yes, sir.
Number 4 Michigan State. Number 3 Western Michigan, the defending national champions there. Number 2 Wisconsin, though the Badgers had themselves a weekend against Sparty. And
no, that's coming up.
Oh, that's coming up. Excuse me. I'm reading that backwards. They've got a big weekend against Michigan State coming up this weekend. And then number 1, winners of 8 of their last 9. It is the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, no surprise. Michigan is rolling. You called it earlier in the season. It's the state of hockey should be the state of Michigan now, as you still have the 3 teams in the top 4 right
it's
there.
It's Michigan right now. My in-laws would be cringing if they heard that. There'd be them's fighting words. So I can't say that too loudly, unfortunately, but you got your top 5 in the NCAA this week as well. So some good stuff there. All right. We've got to talk. We're going to be getting more into the Olympics as we get closer and closer. The opening ceremonies are coming up, and the women's Olympic tournament actually starts before the opening ceremony. So we're going to be getting more and more into the Olympics every week on this show. These rinks, this is a problem. We've talked about how the NHL has been very nervous about having their players play in this, that it was a requirement that the rinks had to be NHL size. Well, they screwed that up. They're not going to be NHL size. They're going to be too narrow. They're going to be too short. That makes you see it in the neutral zone on the ice.
Yeah, like, they took out what 4 feet out of the neutral zone there. That was the big thing, what the size of the rink, and then is it going to be completed on time?
And we're hearing now, we're hearing people say that they won't be ready. That okay, well, the playing surface will be ready, the dressing rooms will be ready, the locker rooms, the workout equipment, that'll be ready, but where people will go to watch, that might not be ready yet. The stadium itself probably won't actually be ready by the time these games start.
Yeah, you know what? And that scoreboard, it's like bubble hockey.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
They're playing on a 4, 100-inch screens instead of, I don't know what size of screens they have on normal jumbotrons, but come on. The players can't even see how bad their stats are or anything like that.
The players, when they had some of their practice events, the players commented that they could not see the clock on the scoreboard, so they didn't know how much time was left in the period. That's an actual problem.
No, it is. You're always looking up to get, to look at a replay as well. And if you have to pull out the binoculars, or if it's easier to just jump on the iPad.
Right. Yeah.
To look at it versus, looking straight up.
Watch it on the
what a cluster this has been. I don't know, Adam. What's your take on the whole thing? And then we have a pothole in the ice, a hole in the ice during the first exhibition, game played at the arena as well. I mean, just to make matters worse.
At this point, I think they're probably doomed. They have to they keep insisting, no. We're not, we have no alternatives. We don't need any alternatives. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to play. We're comfortable with how this is going. We're going to send players, all that stuff. I would have a month ago, I would have been pulling up alternative sites. It would have been, where else can we do this? And let's just do this here, because Italy's had plenty. You've had plenty of time to get this ready, and you haven't. You've just straight up haven't. The IOC is not necessarily known for its integrity or its willingness to kick people in the butts when they need to get things done.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing. This is embarrassing for the IOC. It's embarrassing for the IIHF. It's going to be embarrassing for the NHL when all is said and done. That this is going to be a major problem. And when they go to do these, who's hosting the 2030 games?
I was just thinking the same thing without looking. I don't know where that one's going to be played, but
2030 is going to be in the French Alps.
Okay.
The French Alps region. So you're talking Nice and areas like that. You had better make sure that everything is up to snuff and everything's ready to go for you there in France, because this is good. I worry that this is going to be incredibly embarrassing for everybody involved.
Yeah. You know what, Adam, I feel bad for the women's teams as well. We focus more on the men's international and how important it is this year with the NHL players there, but women's hockey, that sucks for them because they're playing their rounds before the men's, and what's going to happen when they can't play, their preliminary rounds at the scheduled times? I don't.
And it's going to be, it almost has a feel of like, well, it's just the women. If there's a problem, it's fine, where that's totally not fair. Totally not fair at all.
Yeah.
So
I don't know but they got, I haven't looked at the specifics as to what needs to be done in what amount of time, but I just hope this isn't, a disaster. They could still make something happen to this and still produce good hockey. We know it, the size of the rink, the players are already going to be moaning and groaning about that. Just make the ice conditions good, and, try to be as accommodable to the fans as you can and just get through it.
Yeah. They have already said that basically it's still going to be a construction project during the games, that there will still be stuff that they're working on even when the games are going on. So it's just unbelievably frustrating there in Italy. We'll see what happens with it. We will see how it all turns out, but this is frustrating to me. This is incredibly embarrassing.
Hopefully we have some more positive news on that, as we can talk about that and the latest, and then kind of go over the rosters in the next week or two as well. We'll have more updates.
Yep, we'll be diving in. We'll be getting into some serious Olympic hockey discussion here over the next couple of weeks as we get you ready for the 2026 Olympic Games. Going to be starting here in just a few weeks, so we'll be diving into that. All right, one last bit for us tonight before we call it a show here on the Neutral Zone. In the PWHL, they had just the one game going on tonight, and that game has gone final. Boston wound up giving up a goal, so did not get the shutout overall.
Oh, I gave it the announcer's jinx, I guess. There was only 2 minutes left in the third.
It was close. Close. Toronto did manage to get a goal late in there. Emma Malteus got her second of the season with just a minute 42 to go in the game. So it did get tight there in Boston at the end. But at the end of the day, the Boston Fleet continue to just be the dominant team atop the PWHL, beating Toronto 2-1 overall. Emma Maltese got the third star of the game. Elena Mueller, the second star of the game, center for Boston, 2 points, a goal, and an assist. And then Shea Maloney with the game-winning goal, ultimately the game-winning goal. She was the number one star of the game tonight in that one. But the New York Sirens are a very interesting anomaly right now in the PWHL as we look at the current standings. So New York right in the middle of everything. 3 teams in front of them, 5 teams behind them in the standings. So right in the midst, they would currently be a playoff team as we sit here today.
Yeah.
11 games on the season, but all 11 have been exclusively decided in regulation. They have 6 regulation wins and 5 regulation losses. They are the only team in the PWHL to not have a game go to extra time at this point.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody else has had at least one wind up in extra time. Actually, everybody else has had at least 2 go into extra time.
So they have 18 points then, because it is a 3-point,
correct,
get the 3 points for the win. So, hey, at least they're winning in regulation instead of, only picking up, 2 or losing, in overtime and only getting 1. So,
yep. But if they could get some of those losses and get some extra points there on that.
Yeah, I was trying real quick. I don't know if I can do it in time. I wanted to see something here. I can't go back that far. I wanted to see what their home record was. Are they as bad at home as the Rangers are, or I think they're better.
I think they are too. Let me see if I can.
I was trying to pull that up here. What?
Yeah, I can't get it easily on the fly. I'll put it that way. But yeah, they are currently now. They're 1 point behind both Minnesota and Montreal. So they are only a point out of second place in the league. They are well behind Boston, but everybody's well behind Boston. They are 1 point in front of Ottawa, also in fifth. So very crowded there in the middle of the PWHL. 2 through 6 are only separated by 4 points. So a win, it would change, a regulation win changes a lot. And then you get then you got the two expansion teams bringing up the rear there. Seattle in 7th and Vancouver in last. They both have just 12 points on the season. Seattle, though, only 10 games on the season. So they've got the games in hand there on Vancouver. But an interesting thing with the Sirens to this point.
Yeah, it is. And I think one of these games, what may have been one of those, the tour games,
yes,
the takeover tour games. So I think they're 3-2 at home, and then they did win a takeover tour game in Dallas.
Yes, they did. They did have a game in Dallas. They
they play at the Prudential Center. They don't play. Do they play? No, yeah. So they're playing in Newark. They're not playing at MSG. So
correct.
I can't hold them to that but hey, one thing though, Adam.
Yes.
Want to talk about the Rangers?
Absolutely.
Are you going paper or plastic over your face the next game?
Hey, they did make it halfway respectable tonight. They did score 3 goals in the third. But
yeah, that's terrible. I don't know what's going on with them and playing at home. I know what it is. The frustration we see here being Kings fans and our struggles all season long, especially at home. It's not fun. At least we're in the games for the most time, but the Rangers, they can't even score. But I'm not to the point where it's plastic, but I wouldn't be surprised.
You're gonna start seeing
you're gonna see
vitriol out of New York. Absolutely.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And with that, that will do it for our show here this evening. We want to say once again, thank you to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Be sure to go to planetjerky.net to place your order. The volcanic jalapeno, I would highly recommend. That is very delicious. Got just the right amount of kick to it. You can also follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Want to say thank you also to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR, and you get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear, and you help them on their journey to support mental health. Be sure to follow along with the station on social media. We are available on Twitter, on TikTok, and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Be sure to check out the new and improved and updated IESportsRadio.com for all the latest in the shows and things around the network. Thank you to Larry B., the czar and overlord of all things IE Sports Radio, for letting us do this crazy little thing we call the Neutral Zone every week, right here on Wednesday nights, right around 9:30. We usually drop the puck on the show and then get you set up on everything happening around the week. Thank you to everybody who's watching the show live and to everybody that catches the show later on as a replay on YouTube. Thank you to them. For Freddie, I am Adam. Together, we are the Neutral Zone. We will see you guys next week. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, stay healthy. We will see you on the other side. Have a great week, everybody.
See you later, Adam.